Hi, welcome back to Conversations with Cherie, where I have real conversations with real people about real issues. Today, I'm bringing to you four powerful women, very humble and very strong women for the primary election. Today, we're going to have talks about the election, talks about life, just talks about, you know me, just talks about anything good, anything positive. And I'm just going to begin by letting them introduce themselves, beginning with...
Hi, I'm Monica Atkins, and I'm running for Talbot County Circuit Court Clerk.
Hi, I'm Wanda Green, and I'm running for Sheriff of Talbot County.
Hi, I'm Rose Potter, and I'm running for the Talbot County Council.
Hi, I'm Keisha Haith, and I'm running for Talbot County Council as well.
Welcome.
Thank you.
I'm so excited. I really am. I've been telling them since we were in the lobby how excited I am. You have no idea how busy it is to get this many women with all these busy schedules. It was work, but it was so worth it to get them all here. I didn't want one or two or three. I wanted all of them here. And I have to say this because it's important to me, because my main focus is to bring empowerment to our young black girls. That is for any young woman of any color, but I specify that because of the fact that that's who I am. I'm a mom. I'm a single mom. I have young daughters. And there are so many, and we don't see the positive light. So the biggest thing for me was to bring something more than just the fun stuff. I need for the world to understand that growing up as a young lady, you'll have a part of your life where you become an adult. And there are things called rules, and you'll be able to vote. And it's not just about the presidential campaign. Yes, that's a plus. But then right here in our own local town, where rules are made, and they're made to help us, and sometimes they don't always. So we need to have an understanding of what is actually going on. We need to be involved. So I want to encourage in this segment for women of age that can vote, please vote. Vote. Make your vote count, so when things are changing in this area and you have no idea how it happened or what happened or who was in charge of it, and I didn't know that happened, we have the opportunity to sit in on meetings. We have opportunities to follow these people. We can Google them. We can find out information about them so that we can know who they are and what they stand for. So take advantage of your right to vote. People, I say it to my kids, people died to get the right for us to vote, and we throw it away. And we complain later when the realities aren't what we want them to be, when things turn out to not be what we want them to be, what we think they should be, then we're offended, we're upset, we're complaining. So if you don't use your right to vote, you don't really have a right to complain because you let it happen. So I just wanted to get that out because I feel like I'm excited about this whole election because I was telling the ladies, I read that I call this segment Ladies First. I say that because these will be the first African American women that will hold these office positions. This is 2018, and we're still saying the first. That blew me away. Because we're in a day and age where we have intelligent people. We have intelligent black people. Some people don't really know what it takes, and some people may not be, as bold enough to step out. But I'm encouraging you, young, old, middle age, whatever, partake in this because it will open up something of information and knowledge that you never knew before. So then it'll go ahead and encourage the next generation and the next generation to become involved in this because this is amazing to me. This is like history to me, sitting on a sofa with four black women where they said this will be the first. So I want to be the first to have interviewed these four women. That's what I'm going to be. The first to have interviewed these women that will be winners. That's how I'm going to talk about it. So I have so many different questions, but I'm gonna keep it simple because I don't want to overdo the politics thing because I know you guys sit in meetings and you do discussions and you explain yourself over and over and over. So I just want to know what public offices have you held, if you're holding presently, and if you have some now, what is it? And if you have in the past, what was it? That's for everyone. You can answer accordingly.
In the past, I was a town commissioner for the town of Trapp, and I held that position for 8 years. And I had to come out because the town of Trapp offers what's called term limits. And once you go through that term, then you have to sit out for a year or two. And you can always go back.
Right.
But I have been a town commissioner, and I'm sitting out right now just because of the term limits.
So, what interested you in politics from the beginning?
Well, I retired from the state with 30 years in administration. And once I retired, I sat home for maybe 2 years playing the housewife. I soon got tired of that. The election in Trapp came about, and I thought, well, why not? So I decided to do it, and to my surprise, I won. So I was quite excited
Yeah, I'm
to do it and to win for the first time around.
Absolutely. That's amazing, because I always wonder, like, did you, like with people, okay, if I just, like me, I'm just a working mom, but this intrigued something inside of me to want to become involved. So I can't even imagine how you guys felt once you stepped into that position to be like, oh wow, it's really happening. So what things did you do to want to change what was already set in place to make it better or improve it?
The first thing, Trapp, as you know, is a very small town, and we have a lot of people there who there need to be some changes, and it takes more than just 2 terms to
Right,
change the minds of
absolutely.
people. You know, I'll see how this go. I'm not sure if I will go back or not, but there are a lot of things in Trapp that I have in mind that needs to be improved.
Absolutely.
So I can't say that. Well, it takes time. You know,
Right,
progression
yeah.
takes time. So, we'll
Okay.
see how it goes.
All right.
So never held an elected position as it relates to local government, but I've spent a lot of time in public service, serving in the government as my full-time professional profession.
Right.
In addition to that, I was elected as our Maryland Economic Development Association president. So I served that term for 2 years. And then just other, public organizations as well. But this will be my 3rd run for elected office. So, the saying goes, 3rd time's a charm, right? So 3rd time will be it. This will be it this
will
time.
be it. But you've gotten to experience a lot from the background
Yes.
to bring. So what would you bring? Or, of course, like she just said, it takes time. But I'm sure you've already had a little plan of what you've already seen go on that you would like to see done differently.
Right. So for my platform, it involves, what I do every day. So economic development is
Right.
part of my platform. I'm really putting some type of plan in place to have jobs here that actually fit within the current landscape of
Right.
Talbot County, so that those that would like to work here in Talbot County have the opportunity to work here. And just like Rose mentioned, it's not a cookie cutter approach. It's not a thing that happens overnight. It's
Right.
something that takes, careful planning and time. And I think we have to take a proactive approach to creating jobs here in Talbot County and working together, with the town of Trapp and the, town of Oxford and other
Right, the
municipalities as well. Bringing that partnership and solidifying those partnerships for the better is what's going to help us move forward and get to where we want to be as a community.
I know that it sounds so good. Like, it's some things that you're like, I'm waiting to see some things different, some things change, because growing up, we've seen some of the things and how it's changed, and some good and some are still the same.
Yes.
I won't say some bad, just some still the same, where it still shouldn't be. In 2018, some things should be a little bit different now.
Right.
And that's my thing when I say about getting out there and vote and know who you're voting for and know their past. Like, where'd you grow up? How was your childhood? Where'd you really come from? Because sometimes a lot of people that hold offices, they can't really relate to some of the things that they set rules over.
Right.
They make rules about things they don't really understand. And I think they take, they assume that this would be good. That's what I think a lot of decisions get made from, what we assume should work here. But if you actually have experienced some things, that when it comes to the table, you would be able to say, that looks familiar. And I think if we tried X, Y, and Z, sometimes you have to have someone that's been a little seasoned in life, not just with your bachelor's. And yes, I know that will help. But I'm more than sure that if you're in a situation where you understand something, you'll be able to come out a little better than trying to get the book answer versus a life answer sometimes. Sorry, ma'am, I scooted the whole system.
Well, I've never held elected office before, but I have recently retired from the Sheriff's Department after 35 years of service. So I understand when you say about the bachelor's. I'm running on experience. I've had formal training as a police officer, but I do believe that life experience gives me something to work with and communicate with our community. I feel that what I can bring to the Sheriff's Department is a new look, a new way
Did
of.
you answer my question before I asked what you gonna bring?
I just,
Go ahead.
well, I just want to bring a new
Yeah.
look. I want to bring a new vision to the Sheriff's Department. I want us to concentrate on the whole community, the entire community.
Right.
And I really want to bring a different type of law enforcement where we are more connected to the community.
Absolutely.
And that's one of my main goals.
That's good. I'm like, oh, she 35 years, you a glutton for punishment. And I know I say that in a way with laughter, but that's a lot. And the funny thing was, Sunday, we were in Sunday school, and I pray he gets to see this, Minister Friesen, Tommy Friesen. We were talking about the election, because he was like, how many people are going to vote? And people raised their hands, and he was like, and he started talking about you, and he said, he told somebody in the congregation, he said, remember when she took that gun down, that man gun from him? He said, and then when he came into the the department where he was working, he said, he asked him, what were you thinking? And we were laughing, and I said, that was life.
Right.
And that's exactly what I mean. That was life. A book wouldn't have been able to respond to something, because that's not something you take time to think about, because you would have thought your way out of that, and that situation would have been able to escalate in a whole nother level. So I definitely commend you, because we definitely felt safe, and we understand, it's about trusting people.
Right.
And with politicians, it's iffy.
Right.
It's really iffy. You don't know, you get what they tell us.
Right.
And sometimes to know people and to know, I can say, I know you ladies are well enough to say what you say, you're going to bring it to pass to the best of your ability, because it does take time. It's nothing you're going to go in and all of a sudden, I'm done. But the fact is, your intentions and your motives are pure. And that's something that I'm really looking forward to seeing, because a lot of times we go and we vote and they promise, and, they even show up at church, because they feel like that's the right thing to do. I'm going to come to service and I'll get their votes. And people, we have a heart like that, when we're in church and serve God. We love to see people come, because we're not looking to think that they would just, manipulate us into just voting. Maybe they really do want to hear about my Jesus. That's what we're thinking at that moment. But then in reality, no, this was just another stunt to get where I needed to go to get a vote. And I don't feel like I've ever seen that amongst any part of the 4-year campaigns. It was just genuine, sincere. This is who I am. This is what I plan to do. I can't tell you something outside of the box. I'm not going to say so-and-so can't do better than me. This is just who I am, and this is what I'm going to promise to do my best with. So that was the thing that I like about it. It's a very open, honest, race. And I'm like, wow, this is amazing, because, it's on the heels. Like, they're on your heels. They're like, no, these women, and I had to make it my business to get this session done before the election. And I'm on the phone with her and texting her, and she's getting her. So I'm doing notes, and I'm like, every time I would say, I'm going to get Miss Rose, I'll get her. And we pass like ships in the night at the Y. She may be in one part of the Y, and I'm at in the other part. And I'll say, well, I'll catch her on the way out. I'm on the way out. She's gone. So I'm there at 5:30. Then I'm on my way to work. She's parked there. So I'm like, how do I do this? So I just said, Dee Dee, can you please just call her and let her know that, like, that's like the piece to the puzzle. Like, it was like it could not go off without having all 4 of these spots filled up, because it just, I don't want to speak for anybody that's not here. I want your side to be told. I don't want to, we also have Rosalie Potter. No, I want Rosalie Potter to be here to speak for herself. So I definitely thank all of you again and again, because I've been excited. I know my kids were like, hurry, I'll be glad when this is over. Because she keeps talking about these ladies. But I want them to know the power in voting, especially my son. He's getting older, and I want him to know, the power in voting. I'm trying to even get to a point where I take like a group of people and let's go vote together, make a little day of it, because I want it to really get pushed, because it's important. I say it again, I didn't realize how important this election was until you become head of your household.
Right.
Until you start to see the bills and you start to see things change and get a letter and say, oh, well, as of such and such, this has just happened. And you're like, when did that happen? But there were meetings that we tend to miss out on. So now it's like, okay, you have the knowledge, you know what to do, show up.
Yeah.
So, yes, ma'am.
Well, I have never held an office. I'm like Wanda. I go on experience. I've been with district court for 40 years. Yes.
You too.
40
years.
40
My
years.
God.
I should be retiring, but I just want to take it to the next level.
That's good. That's really good. That's what I say now, next level thinking, next level, everything you do, take it to the next level.
Yes.
Because we kind of get to a place where we stop. We feel like we've hit a place and said, oh, we become stagnant, we become complacent, and we're like, what do I do next? And that's the beauty in it. You two could have said, hey, I don't have to do anything I don't want to do now, but just enjoy life. And, and you're willing to sacrifice your time to people, continuously until the terms are up. And that, to me, time is everything. You can get money, you can get clothes, anything you lose, you can get it again. But your time, you'll never get it back. So that's one thing I'm looking to, how you're taking this so serious, because those numbers alone, how can I say thank you?
75 years of
Yes,
service
together right there.
Wow.
So that speaks volumes to say, I'm going to trust with longevity. When you support anything, when you go to a beautician, you want to check her record.
Right.
You want to be like, how long has she been doing hair? You go to a bakery, you want to order your cakes, you want to know, how good is their food? What's the guarantee on this? Because people make pretty cakes, but they don't taste how they look. So you do everything with that. So you want to hear about the experiences. You want to know what's behind the background of these people to be trusted, because that's what you do. You trust your politician.
Yes.
Whether we openly say, I trust you, we do. So, the thing, growing up, how did you grow up? What was it's growing up in Easton, because everybody grew up here.
No,
right?
I
Where
did
you
not.
grow up,
I grew
Rose?
actually in Queen Anne's County,
Well, talk
in
about it.
Centerville,
I didn't know.
and very simple life. Mom and Dad, who often every weekend took us out. We did things as a family, which really was important then, and it's important now. That family connections. I remember we went to the fair, Harrington Fair, every
that was a big
year.
thing.
That was a big outing.
You got to Harrington Fair. That was
It was a huge outing, but it was so important to them to make sure that we had that family connection, that we had that togetherness,
Right.
So in Centerville, the way it is now was nothing compared to the way that it was then. Almost one way in and one way out. But all of the businesses and that have come, that's growing there now, it's really nice place to live. So as far as my life was concerned, it was very simple, humble life, good parents,
And
things of this nature.
that's something that I speak big on, is family life. Like, I pray that comes to the forefront again. Like, I didn't realize how important eating dinner at the table with your family all at one time is.
We did that.
I literally try it with my 2 youngest. I'm like, okay, today we're going to eat dinner together. And that shouldn't be so. And I'm like, okay, no iPad, no this. I'm like, please, just for one. And it's like, because Somebody's at this practice. Somebody's at here. We're on our way to church. We have this. So everybody's running. And that's kind of the thing, even with the politicians and the political issues like family. Bring that to the forefront because you have so many single parent homes and people are really trying to figure out a way to bind back the togetherness.
Yes.
You know, because there were the older parents, the grandparents that kept everything together. And that's something you hardly hear in the midst of politics is family.
Right.
You don't really hear people talk about their family lives. They may say, well, I went to Oxford, I got a PhD here. They talk about that part of the upbringing, but telling somebody about that, like, because kids don't know. They take their stuff, they go to their room, they stay on a device.
yeah.
But to hear parents, you know, whether it's mom and dad or just mom with the kids, it means a lot. And it stands for something because this is a generation that I say, they're not lost. We throw them away. They're not. They're not. And I do this to empower people, to pour in, to lift up, because I want people to know that life is not just, you know, you'll have fun, you will. You'll get to do all the fun stuff, but there's a part of life where you have to realize that you have to grow up. You have to take a stand somewhere. You have to become involved because you want to leave a legacy. You want the generation behind you. I don't just want it for my kids. I want something good for the kids that grow up with my kids, for them to understand that really, like, okay, like we get the freedom and the rights to do things that some of our great-great-grandparents didn't get to do. So I don't want to mess up something that somebody lost their life for us to do. And it's like we give away our power and we do it with a negative, you know, of the vibes are negative. We don't do positive, or if someone talks about good upbringing, it's that's not for me, that's soft, and you know, and we make doing the right thing look like it's wrong. I mean, that's Bible, where right will look wrong and wrong will look right. And I want that in this, anytime that I'm available to blog, because I blog, I do live or whatever that I'm led to say, I just want it to be something purposeful. I want it to make sense to some young girl. I want them to know that even being a single mom, my voice counts. My voice matters. Not just in my house, not just at my job, you know, because we go to work and we want to do everything right there. And then we have the kids and we want to do the best we can there too. But then when it comes to the things that go on in elections and in the town, we should want to have as much say as the next person. It's not just one person's opinion. You know, we all have an opinion and we all can put in what we want to say, or, you know, agree or disagree. But if your vote, if you don't make it to that, you know, this is something, these are the table conversations to have with your children. When you're at the table, when you decide to sit down at the same time together, say, you know what, let me explain to you that one day you'll be able to vote. You know, I mean, I took my son to see Selma like a few years ago when it came out, because I wanted him to understand what was really done for the privileges that he receives now, because it didn't have to be so. We could still be going to the back door of something to get something to eat. And it's not to say, oh, that's old. No, it makes sense that how we make a mockery of what people bled for, to just say that's not my problem. But it is our problem when some of those rules hit home. You know, I say that with the opioid and that epidemic, you know, it wasn't everybody's problem until it started knocking on doors, you know, and it's hitting every door. But how you respond to it, are you gonna cater to it, hide it, shove it under, or are you gonna be a voice that says this is what we need to do, here's a suggestion? All of that goes into the fact of voting for the right people. These people have to be honest in this campaign. They have to be able to stand behind, you know, we have to hold them accountable, because this is what you said, this is what you promised us. They make promises. Okay, that's not the presidential. I can't show up in DC and telling them how I feel about what they promised me, because I'll be getting in line with a whole lot of other people. But locally, yeah, you have to hold people to their word. And if this is what you say, keep your word. Like, we know it's not going to happen overnight, but I do expect to see some type of change. And I don't want to see the worst change come before the good change, because sometimes you see things and it goes like it went backwards. So I'm just like, I'm excited because I want to see. I feel like a change really is going to come within this election. I really do. I feel like some good changes are going to come. I don't think it's going to be, I think we're moving forward. Like it or not, we're moving forward in a way that this town has never moved forward before. But we have got to speak up. We have got to become involved, and not just in a good time and a party and a turn up. Call it what it is. Life is not a party. If it is, I missed my invitation, because it's not, and I want people to laugh and to have fun, but it comes to a time where you want some solid foundation in your life. You want stability. If all you've ever known was to run the streets and be wild, sometimes you got to say, I'm tired. It has to be something better than this. And there are people like you that have worked in situations where you've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I know it probably hardens your heart and sometimes breaks your heart to see people that you knew and things happen and you're like, wow, didn't they know? Or where was so-and-so? And, and then we say, well, where were the politicians in this? Because I did watch a segment and they were talking and I was just like, that lady doesn't have a clue what that really feels like. Because she kept asking the psychiatrist what she thought. But she was the one saying, well, can't they just, that's the answer. Can't they just? And she was not really, she wasn't helpful to where if I was to be in that situation. It was talking about mental illnesses and they started talking about opioids and I flicked through because it was on this channel. So I was like, let me listen, because I need to know. I need to know what you're really doing, because I need to know, did you know that 13-year-old across the bridge that overdosed? Did you know, not personally, no, but do we reach out in the community as the politician or as the people that have these meetings about these things? Do we reach out and make a safe place for these people? Do we get to the parents or the siblings or the people and have a conversation with them? You're not going to be capable of having a conversation with someone that's addicted to something, but reach out to those that are trying to support or get the help and make it like, but this is what we have this for, to really say, I have suggestions. That's good. We can suggest it. It may not go over right away, but at least you guys will say, you know what? I was at a town hall meeting and a lady pulled me to the side and said, I would like for you to be able to do X, Y, and Z because this is what my husband's dealing with. As far as with the opioid thing, I just feel like it's more that can be done, and I get the purple light, I guess, but that's just me. I'm just trying to figure it all out, because some things you can't just speak about it, you have to be about it, because it's not changing. And I know one person can't change it overnight, but I know that with a strong enough, as they say, it takes a village to raise a child. It's going to take some villages to pull those down. That, we just have to make sure we back the right people that make the right decisions, and that they can base them not off of what they think. Because those decisions like that, and housing, low income housing, you have to make sure that somebody is speaking and is that voice to say, okay, I think this might go better. Because if you've always lived on the hill and you can look down and say, well, they'll be okay, just do a little something there. And not realizing that may be part of the problem instead of the solution.
Well, where we both grew up,
Yeah,
around the
go
corner from
ahead.
one another. And so 16 South Aurora Street was my address until
Right.
we moved to Trapp. So, being familiar with the area and growing up over top of what's now the barber shop, in that, I think it was
Right.
probably a 1-bedroom apartment. A part of me wants to go back there so badly just to see what it looks like now. But
Right.
you learn from that, because I think that makes you realize, and you don't forget where you came from,
Absolutely
although you may be in a different part of your life now, but you know what it's like to live
Right.
there.
Yeah.
You know what it's like to
Absolutely.
not necessarily have food sometimes.
Yeah.
You know what it's like to not be raised by your teenage mother, but your grandmother. So you can relate to those individuals and say, okay, let me think about how I felt when I was growing up that time and what I can do to try and help those. And it is sometimes, showing people, exposing people to other things, and them renewing their mind on things and seeing what the possibilities are. And I think that's why I do the nonprofit, because exposing these young girls to other things beyond Talbot County is important, to me. If I can save one without becoming a teenage mother, I feel I've done my job.
I think it is important to always think about where we've come from and keep that foremost. Even though we're running for office, it still doesn't negate us from thinking about where we came from. And remember that, we need to be lifting them up and not suppressing them down. So it's very important. Even though we're running, we still have heart for people. If we keep that foremost, will be really, really a good thing. Even though sometimes people may act irate, but there's a reason for them to be acting that way. And I will, I whenever they act, however they act, and it's a negative reaction to what they're doing or whatever, then I say there's a problem, and we need to get in, talk to them, and help them find it, even come to reality, because even sometimes they may not even know what their problem is. But if we talk to them like they're people and help them out, it'll make a whole difference, even in the political field.
Absolutely. I feel that my background, especially where I came from, I grew up in Wine Mills. Me and my sister probably were the only two black kids in Wine Mills when I grew up. But I grew up being raised by an aunt who taught me everything that I needed to know and take forward. But due to circumstances, I used to be ashamed to talk about it, but I'm a product of a foster home. I am a foster child. So I look at the young women in our community. I don't want them to go through the things that I have to. So I think my going through all the things that I did motivated me to get me where I am. And I want to take that motivation and spread it. Because I truly feel that once you've been there, you know how to relate to people who are in the same. And when I say I want the whole community, I want to include the whole community. I think it's important that we tell our stories, each one of us tell our stories, so we can, maybe somebody can hear it that can relate to it.
Absolutely.
And then we can carry it forward. We can help them. So.
And people need people that look like them.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
We haven't had that.
Absolutely.
I grew up in the Easton, St. Michael's area. I'm a St. Michael's girl. And I came to the big city of Easton.
All the counties.
Well, I moved to Centerville, but my mother was a single parent for years. And she was a hard worker. And, we had a very humble life. And she did the best she could. And it just made me just want to do a little bit better, Because I remember, sometimes that we struggled, but we made it.
And that everything that you all said, I'm glad you said it, so it wouldn't seem like I'm just trying to push what my beliefs upon what I feel that you should be doing, because this is how you learn. And I had said today, I said, I don't like that phrase, experience is a good teacher, because I feel like someone else's experiences can teach you now. Because really, if you go out and experience a bad drug and die, that will be that's what you're gonna learn. So you can't say some things you gotta figure it out on your own. No. Now I can see where it's easier if I sit back and I look at things and mistakes, and even over your own life, you can be like, wow, I could have did this better. So now when something happens similar, not to respond the same, not to make the same choices. And I do. That's what I live to empower, because I feel like I came from Graham's Alley. That doesn't exist. It's Kelly Gibson Street, which looks nothing like Graham's Alley. I would love to have a picture to just hold it up. because I love where I came from. The thing that bothers me the most, that I've always said, you hear everybody use the term ghetto. Well, that's ghetto. And that's ghetto, and that's not a picture that I have in my mind, because ghetto to me was love. Ghetto to me was when you didn't have food, the neighbors fed you, and they didn't have a conversation about it. Ghetto was if your lights got cut out, you saw an extension cord run from one house to the next, but you still didn't ask a question because you was like, I don't know, and you still kept playing, because in the ghetto was love. That's what I experienced. I experienced where the village raised you. If you did something out of line, I lived in number 52. So I had to go past like quite a few houses no matter which way I went to get to mine, and it was in the middle. Now if I did one thing, I'd start and Miss Bernice would be there and she'd say, you know better, and somebody else might say this, and the other one might say, Gail, get over here, and the other one, Miss Lizzie, might be sitting at the bush on your way by and swap that switch at you, and you know, so you done got a beating, a tongue thrashing, and everything else, and then still gonna get beaten when you get home. So the village, you know, they weren't going to each other's house talking about don't hit my kid. They were saying thank you for helping me with my kid. When the neighbors, someone wasn't home, the neighbors seen them. They let you know so and so was at your house or this happened. They weren't telling people next door, well, I saw, you know, so and so go there. The ghetto was love. Everything,
and it was the village
it
in
was
action.
it was we got together, we played together. You just I didn't even really realize that we were that poor until I came in school and people would say things and I would be like, that's not what I really didn't think that. So I feel it's important for me now. I said the last time I found my voice, I didn't find it. I buried it, and I downplayed it. I let it be hidden because I was afraid of, am I going to fit in? Is this normal? You know, who does she think she is? And these are the things that I know that young girls experience. I know that grown women experience it. They're just not going to say it. You know, I told the lady, it's funny how us as women, because my thing is always about empowering women, because women, we have so many issues in life differently that we've been through. You know, you saying you've been a foster kid. Well, nowadays people don't even get adopted, they get left. You know, so it's like that is a plus. So then we have those things that, you know, you go through generational curses. You don't understand it, and you don't understand why you behave or react a certain way. And I told the lady, I said, you know, the funny thing is, women, we don't even know how to sit in a room and actually have a conversation without judging. I call it compare and stare, because we do. And we're like, well, you know, if we haven't done it, we've did it, or we used to do it. And, you know, a woman, I don't do stuff like, oh, yes, you have. You know, you found someone as beautiful as Gabrielle Union talk about when a woman more pretty than her would come into a room and the attention would leave her, that she would talk bad about the woman that came in the room in order for her to get the spot back. Now, if she could say this, the woman that we think is so beautiful and has everything together, I want to be able to bring women and girls to a place in their life to be okay with who they are and not do anything different based upon what society says we should do. If you want to follow something, then we have positive women that sit every day. It is somewhere. And I always say, somebody's going to flick through, somebody's young daughter, some woman that has gone through some hurtful things and may be able to pop in and say, wow, what are they talking about? And something that one of us might say would just be something to be able to uplift, because that's what this is about. Even in during this election, this is going to be a unitedness with black women as a whole, to see that, you know what, they've been with each other on this trail, and I'm sure it has not all been good and easy. That's right. It just couldn't be. I would think y'all telling me a lie. If y'all get up every day and go to work, and you got y'all are wives, y'all have a lot to going on, and it just doesn't, you know, I'm sure it just doesn't fall into place every day, but you keep showing up, you know. So I thank y'all for keep showing up to do something that you're passionate about, because you don't keep showing up to something that you don't have passion for. You don't, after 35 and 40 years of working for somebody, I'm going to still keep showing up. That's passion right there.
That's right. To God be the glory.
Yeah.
For sure. I mean, to keeping us going.
Absolutely.
I mean, really, His strength.
That's it.
Because
When-
somebody asked me today, well, how do you do it all? You have to be tired. I said, when my body feels like I need to rest, I do rest.
Right.
And, you know, you can't make everything. You just have to prioritize.
That's right.
And, you know, try and balance it. But to God be the glory.
That is
Giving
so
me
true.
the strength.
I look at my calendar sometimes and I say, wow, you know, I just live day to day, you know, but I persevere. And I know it's all because of God. Because I believe in where it talks about God is in control. And He's always in control of what we do. And I don't believe He brought us this far to leave us now. You know, He brought us here to this port for a reason. And we're just going to have to trust Him and believe in Him and do what we feel that He wants us to do. Yes. So it can get trying sometimes, absolutely. I can get tired sometimes, absolutely. But I look at the calendar and I say, well, you got to go.
Yeah.
You have to go. So, unfortunately,
Dedication.
You have to push forward.
Dedication.
November's coming quick.
Yes, I just, you know, that's dedication. That is, like, to know when you want to drop and be like, hey, I'm tired, I can't make it. You know, we can't make excuses. You know, we have to be diligent. And especially when we say we love God. And I know that I'm sitting on a sofa with 4 women that say that. And He says, do everything as unto Him. So that means whatever we put our hands to do, we have to do it unto Him.
That's
You know,
That's exactly right.
and we may not like it every day. We may not. But if we're doing it that He might get the glory out of it, then hey,
Absolutely.
it's gonna be worth it. You know, I pray that, you know, the Star Democrat would hint I would have the sense to put all 4 of you on the paper before this is all over. Because again, this is, I mean, that was the craziest thing that I read. That just, like, it doesn't leave me. Because I'm that person, I say that, God, I'm the curse breaker. And I was afraid to say that out loud because sometimes you know what comes with, you know, what we say. But death and life are in the power of the tongue. And that's power that He's given me. And I say that because of the things that I've experienced in life and things that were to not my doing. And until I realized what was in the lineage before me that had to be broken because of I look at there's no voice. Everyone went along to get along. And that's something I don't want women to do. I don't want women to settle. I don't want women to feel like, oh, this is what I've done forever, so I don't feel, you know, it's good enough, you know. Don't settle because it's no limits. You know, my pastor preached that one time, it's no limits on God, or take the limits off of God. And that's where I feel like with you 4 women, that's limitless. You know, this is something that takes time every day out of your regular life. Even when you have a day off from work, you still don't. Because it's something now I have to use that time to navigate this and to fit this. You know, but you know, as we say, if it had not been for the Lord, that's where I definitely know that's what you say. And I'm not running for any office, and I feel like with just me being a single working mom, you know, serving God, taking the kids here, running there, it takes a lot. So being all of that, you're a wife, a mother, work, that is something, you know, and it takes a team. But it takes the strength, you know. He said, therefore, when you are weak, that's when, you know, your strength comes. And that's funny because sometimes you could be dead tired, and then suddenly you'll be like, oh, I think I can go a little bit longer. Oh, I think I can do a little bit more. And you're like, wow, I know that was you, God, because I really didn't want to do this today. And I just think, like, the possibilities of what to come for the future of maybe the next little girl that says, you know what, when they ask at school, what do you want to be? They might say, I want to be a sheriff. She's going to be a sheriff. You know, I want to be a sheriff when I grow up. That's big because we want to set, you know, the bar has to be raised again for our girls. It has to be raised again because we think of an easy way out, or we have the thing of, if I see a lot on social media, you know, I've got, look at this is how you do it. And it's nothing to say about having nice things or doing good things, but what are you leaving behind?
Right.
Stuff, He says, set not your affections on things on earth that rust and mold away and rot. What good is it?
right.
You know, I said, I want to make God's famous. I want to make his name famous.
Yes.
Yeah, he's God to everybody that serves him in church. They know him.
Mm-hmm.
But out here, do they really know him? Like, how do we, you know, you can be who you are and still let something in your life speak him.
Yes.
You don't have to say 1,000 words. Sometimes you show up, and
That's
people,
right.
the word that people like to say is something about you. You know what your something is,
Right.
you know, and I feel like that's the something that's got you for women in the forefront right now. You know, call it what it is. It's the forefront. Any woman in their right mind, any black woman, because of the struggle and because of the things that a lot of people have endured, they would have not have, you know, I could see a lot of our grandparents and things now saying, wow, like your grandmother, oh my, you know, they would be amazed.
Yes.
They would be in awe of what has happened, that it didn't all go in vain, that it all wasn't for nothing. Because a lot of times we see society and we're like, oh my God, what's going on? But there's something good going on right here in Easton. And every chance I get to bring them on the couch and talk about it, I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to talk about everything good that's of the color
That's
of my
right.
skin. Everything, and it's not about a race, but it's where I come from.
Yes.
I can't ever deny the growth and what we have to do to bring it forward a little bit more and pull them that are behind us
Right.
out of it and stop saying, well, that's their problem. That's not my problem. That's what we hear. That's not my problem. That's on them. You know, no, it is our problem. We, you know, one way or the other, we'll pay for it politically, emotionally, financially, you know, taxes, all kinds of things get into the things that we say we don't care about.
Yes.
So, I'm actually going to stick to this now. I don't think I did but one. But what distinguishes you from the other candidate?
Personally, I think that I have more knowledge of this county. I've been here. I've lived here. I've raised my kids here. I love the citizens of this county. And I care about all aspects of things that are going on in the county, not just a few things. I care about what is happening in this county. And I also, it's good to see people like Keisha and Rose and Dee Dee, because believe it or not, they motivate me. I've watched Keisha's career. I've seen Rose down there on the town council, and I've watched Dee Dee. And I truly believe that the things that move me the most is the fact that we have good people in this community. And I want this community to know and give other people a chance, an opportunity to show what we can do. Because I truly believe that we are the future leaders of this county.
Absolutely.
I believe that with all my heart. I believe
do
that.
too. That's why
So.
you're here.
Well, I believe that my 40 years experience gives me a
Yeah, I
big
just
edge.
need you to say that.
And I've served in most aspects of the court, except for the judge. But I've done every
Right.
department. I have a lot of knowledge as to how the courts operate and what needs to be done to get it done. And I think I would have, a lot of good ideas to take to circuit court to
That's it.
help motivate it a little bit more,
Right.
take it to that next level.
I believe at 40 years, you better bring something. You gotta bring your A game. You ain't gonna leave it all on the table. Now, this is the 40 years that I've been waiting for.
I think my 30 years in administration says a lot. Also, the fact that I have been in the county for a long, long time. We moved down from Centerville in 1977. I'm aging myself. However, but since 2009, I have been involved in Talbot County, not only the county, but also the town as well. And I have been affiliated with 17 organizations in this town and in the county because I am a people person and I love being out there. I have served on a number of committees or as a board of director member, and I enjoy that. So I do it as much as I can, not as much as I can. I do it. And I feel like that's good, and that's something you need to be a people person, I think, in order to be in these positions. As I said earlier, when we get to the council and we get an irate person, I'm going to look at that person and say, there's something going on. There's something going on. I have to listen to what they're saying, but I have to also understand, maybe he needs to just chill out a little bit, and so we can hear him or her, and they can hear us as well.
Right.
So I think I am a person who loves the community, who loves Talbot County. Otherwise, I wouldn't be working in it as long as I have been doing that. So.
Same thing, born and raised in Talbot County, experience in government, and just statewide knowledge, through my career. I've learned a lot, gained a lot through education, working with the school system, being in the school at Easton Middle School, every week with the girls program, and just, economic development. That's my passion. Being a small business owner and just knowing what it takes to get there. So many times in economic development, what I've seen is that for minorities anyway, the drawback is credit.
Right. Right.
And lack of capital, getting the capital. So making sure that, we have programs that's really teaching individuals that want to start a business, directing them to the proper resources, and and then the larger type of industry that's we're poised for. Just bringing that all together. I just want to make sure that I have a plan in place once we get through the primary, so that I can articulate what I would like to see with the other council members happen like within our first 90 days or 6 months. So work together with those members to bring our visions to fruition.
That's amazing. I'm still gonna keep saying how excited I am, because I do see like a shift and a change taking place, and it's nothing nobody can do about it. The only thing you can do is show up or not show up, but you've already showed up. You showed up and you've made it happen. Who would have thought? I can't wait till I get on the phone. My mom be like, guess what? She doesn't, I don't even think she knows that I do this. I kind of just do stuff, and then later I'll tell her or whatever. But to talk about people that she knows, because she always asked about people back home and what are people doing. And but then she has a little free thing that she does on, she gets to start Democrat. She does the thing online. So she'll call me and tell me some stuff, because I don't get the paper much, because I don't always want bad news. I do watch the news. You got to know what's going on. But some things, you just I hold off. But I'm just excited, because this is going to be big. And I do just want to, I pray that I get to catch a meeting of each individual before it actually takes off, because it's the timing is not working. So I kind of keep saying, I'm going to get in. So eventually I will. But I'm so grateful and I'm thankful for you taking time for me. I've really been just in all at the edge of my bed last night. This has been amazing. And half of this, it just wasn't gonna happen. This was just a safe place. I knew that once, we got into our comfort level, it's gonna be just what I call it, conversations with Cherie, And I just plan on bringing more and more enlightenment. There will be fun stuff. There will be, I'm going to have single moms that are, I call them mompreneurs, moms on the move, some authors we have locally. We have good people in this community. We do. Everything is not bad here. Everything is not going wrong. Everybody's not lost. So I plan on continuing to bring. And I want to say thanks to Miss Dee. She was my sponsor for today. And, because people don't realize, it's a blessing to be able to do this. This is not something that you had to do. So that was definitely appreciated, because you pour into me and I take it all in. So I try to pour out as much as I can to everybody, but I love to just empower and uplift and embrace, sisterhood. That's my biggest thing, to see and to sit in the presence of all this knowledge. This is a lot of knowledge and information that I'm sitting around, because I'm going to be ready to pick brains later and shoot texts and be like, 'cause I heard you say, and I heard you say. But I'm so grateful and thankful. So maybe you guys can join me back after this busy set of your life is over and tell me all about your positions and titles.
Yes.
So thanks again for joining Conversations with Cherie, where we have real conversations with real people. Have a great day.